the south coast, the big challenge now for the visiting supporters, somehow battling the weather to get home via the train, in the car, however they're going to do it. Good luck to them and travel.
I think it'd be Southampton, given the chances they had to have made it 2-0. Great goal from Charlie Austin, good finish. Had some other chances, but I'd say on reflection of the game, Arsenal will be happy to take the point with the late goal.
Yeah, I think scoring late, you'd say is a good point at that stage. But before the game, in context, Arsenal, they would have looked at this and thought, it's a must-win game. I mean, their title hopes have absolutely gone. It's a fight for the top four, isn't it?
And as always, they made plenty of effort to be here, the travelling supporters. And you noticed when Lacazette came off, there was a few little rumblings of discontent there, wasn't there?
Yeah, there were some boos. But it was a good substitution. What happened second half is Southampton sort of went about the game and thought we'll just hang on to what we've got. They went for a more physical presence. Giroud good in the air, and I tell you what, it's a brilliant header. It's a floated ball, and he's still got so much to do, and he generates pace off the flick and the accuracy into the corner. A stunning finish.
Not an easy thing to do, is it?
Absolutely not. Fraser Forster, I have to say, wasn't really troubled. For all Arsenal had the possession, didn't
one
really
shot,
work him
one
enough.
shot on target in the second half before that goal from Olivier Giroud. That was the free kick from Sanchez, of course. In some ways, though, you can understand a bit of frustration from the Arsenal supporters because they're here, they're looking for a goal. They've looked pretty impotent for most of the game, and then you take off Lacazette, who's only played 90 minutes twice all season. Wenger seems to hook him all the time.
Yeah, I think Lacazette himself will be frustrated. The way Arsenal play today, the speed, the tempo of their passing, the quality into that front three. That you need to get the ball into those guys, and to not do that regularly enough, and just the slow pace that they played at today will be frustrating for him coming off as well. But for Arsenal and their supporters, not really good enough.
The change was good, though. I mean, it was good because Southampton had narrowed up so much, there was no space in there. So, you have to say well done to Arsene Wenger for putting Giroud on.
In some ways, it was almost the perfect game plan, though, wasn't it, from Southampton? Because they were so hard to break down in the second half, and they built it all from taking the lead so early on through Charlie Austin, who clearly loves playing against Arsenal.
Well, there's a lot of players who, enjoy playing against this Arsenal defence. It is a poor clearance from Mertesacker. Charlie Austin, all throughout his career, he's a natural goal scorer, and he's still got a bit of work to do. Lovely reverse pass, but it's a wonderful striker's finish.
Let's talk then about this Arsenal defence. You do wonder what the succession planning is, don't you, for Arsene Wenger? Because we've already said he's got a back three with a combined age of 96 playing here today. Holding sitting at home watching. Callum Chambers is sitting at home watching. What is the future for the Arsenal back line?
I think it's been something that we all talk about for not just this season, but many years, really, isn't it? Where is that leadership? Where's that defensive solidness to the team that they once had many years ago? Yes, they've got that attacking flair and ability to go forward and score goals, but they need to be solid at the back to give them any kind of chance of competing at where they want to be, which is the top of the table and in the Champions League.
Can Arsenal win a title with that back line? And we all know the answer. Absolutely not. It's as simple as that. So, how can Arsene Wenger not see that?
Can they win a title with this front line if they sorted out the back line?
Yeah, I think, in an attacking sense, they've got so much talent up top. I like Lacazette. It didn't happen for him today. I'm a big fan of Ozil, what he can do on the ball. And Sanchez, well, they're not going to be here at the end of the season by the looks of it, are they?
Pellegrino, though, his message to his players is going to be one of taking your chances, isn't it? Because they had the opportunities, and they will know that those opportunities just came and went.
That's right, yeah, the game could have been out of reach. This is Romero's effort, just skimming the bar, check. Seemed to have his angles pretty, he seemed quite confident.
Did he get lucky or did he get his angles right?
He seemed quite confident on it, but, Southampton certainly had the chances. This one from Tadic, great little reverse pass to Bertrand. Bertrand's touch takes him in, and you think he's just going to slot it past him into the back of the net, but, they've been caught out with not really sort of maximising the opportunities they've had today, and it was helped a little bit with some of the defending that we saw from Arsenal as well.
That was the chance, wasn't it? 2-0, no way back. I have to say, I think Peter Cech does really well. Comes out, makes himself big, but if you're Pellegrino, you're thinking, we've got to put those chances away.
Absolutely. What are you thinking, though, if you're Arsene Wenger? Let's hear from him. He's with Lindsay.
Thank you, Arsene.
He says he's frustrated with time wasting. He's clearly frustrated with his own players. I'm not sure you can blame time wasting for the reason Arsenal didn't win this game today.
Absolutely not. He should be frustrated with the start of the game and how long it took Arsenal to get into the game. And, they were simply caught cold, and that wasn't good enough. And that is more of a prevalent worry than time wasting.
As is the table as well. It's missed opportunities today for Arsenal. We know that Spurs have been struggling of late anyway. We know that Chelsea dropped points yesterday. We know that United have got a tough game against City. This is a missed opportunity for an Arsenal team who, if City win, are going to be closer to the relegation zone than the top of the table by the end of today.
As Chris said earlier, they would have approached this game thinking 3 points. But that approach just didn't materialise out on the pitch. They weren't sharp enough. They weren't hungry enough. And their defending, which is what we've touched on already, was just not good enough. And that start, going a goal behind, they've always got a mountain to climb from there on.
It's going to be such a scrap for this top four as well, isn't it? Every little drop point counts.
Yeah, it is. I don't think Tottenham have hit the consistency which they did last season, so that it was an opportunity. But are we really surprised under an Arsene Wenger Arsenal that this is the case once again?
Okay, let's hear from Maurizio Pellegrino, get his post-match thoughts from a Southampton perspective. Optimistic, Franny Benali, and looking at 1 defeat in 4, or pessimistic and saying just 1 win in 7?
I like to be optimistic.
Of course you do.
But, there's been a turnaround, since the result against Everton. They've got the point at Bournemouth, which you would have probably liked to have taken 3 points from. The way the game went today, disappointing not to have held on and taken all 3 points. But Arsenal is a tough side, but there's some difficult games coming up. They've got Arsenal today. They've got Man United, Tottenham coming up, and obviously there's the big reunion with Claude Puel in midweek against Leicester.
And Huddersfield won again yesterday. I mean, you look at none of those games are easy.
No,
it's the state of the league.
Absolutely not. And they'll feel as 2 points dropped today after leading. But do you think Southampton have regressed from last season?
Well, we've seen Claude Puel go in at Leicester, and he's had an immediate impact in there. There was frustrations about how the team played under him, which is obviously why the decision was made to make that change. The start wouldn't have been what anyone connected with Southampton has wanted, especially when you looked at how the fixtures threw up. So with this tough run of games coming in, they've got to turn things around and start putting some points on the board.
Do you think it's improved in recent weeks?
Yes, yeah.
Not from a results perspective, just from a performance perspective?
I think just a general feeling and performance perspective, it has improved, yeah.
Okay, let's just have another look at the penalty incident from the first half. I spoke to Graham Poll during the second half. This is exactly what he said to me. A referee is well within his rights to give this as a penalty. By the letter of the law, this is a penalty, because you can see here that when the foul is committed, the ball is still in play. However, he also said to me, no referee would ever give this. In the middle of the park, they would, but here they wouldn't, because no one appeals. And in the middle of the park, it doesn't impact play, so it's an easy free kick to give. You were convinced it was a penalty and should have been given, weren't you?
Yeah, I mean, because of the reasons you just said. Anywhere else on the pitch, it is a penalty. But what Sir Graham Poll said, it was a penalty, but
by the letter of the law, it's a penalty. But because no one appeals, it would be a very brave, as you said last time, a very brave referee that decides to give that.
It would have been a very good referee who would have decided that was.
Are you casting aspersions about Graham Poll and Bobby Madley?
I'm not saying that, but surely you have to act off the back of what you see, and you give the correct decision. So, Graham Poll is talking rubbish.
As you say, though, how many referees do you see give those?
It doesn't matter.
As a penalty.
It doesn't matter. Was it a foul? Yes. Should it have been given? Yes.
So simple in your world, isn't it, Chris?
Very simple.
Okay, thank you for your company today. You've both been very busy commentating for radio, commentating for television. We'll blame the snow. Thank you both for coming to our rescue. You were a super sub for us today. It was fantastic. Right.